Hello and good afternoon, Facebook Live. Hello. Hi, I'm Yogi Cecily here on Facebook Live on a Wednesday at 12 noon in lovely Northern California, San Francisco Bay Area. Thank you for watching, for following, and welcome. Already you're going to notice something new today. I have a chair. All right, so before we get into today's Vinyasa program, let me give you all of the handles. On Mondays, I'm actually on Instagram, and that's instagram.com/Cecily_yogi. And on Mondays, these days, I'm doing yoga with weights, which people are really loving. Like, they're really loving sort of the calisthenics with some yoga stretches. So you definitely want to go to Instagram, find my page, and follow those videos there. On Wednesdays, I'm on Facebook, and you might be seeing this video on YouTube. On YouTube, I'm Yogi Cecily, so that's youtube.com/C/Yogi Cecily. All right, you can make donations to all of these social media classes at venmo.com/Cecily-guest. That's CECILY-GUEST, like a guest in your home. So thank you very much for letting me in here today on Facebook. Now, I am sitting in a chair today because I got a message from one of my aunties. So some of you out there, you know, oh, you get a message from your auntie. That's like, time to focus up. So she went to my YouTube channel and checked out some things, and then she wrote, oh my goodness, you know, where does one start? So now this is one of my aunties. Now I'm 57, so you know what age category we're talking about if I'm talking about one of my aunties, right? And I thought, you know, I don't really present a lot of beginner yoga. And there's a reason for that, and I'm going to be dialoguing on that while we do the workout. So there's a reason for that. Well, I'll just tell you the reason now. I really don't believe in titling things like beginner yoga. I think a lot of people get into the beginner level and then just stay there. And they never really deal with some of the harder parts of yoga. And the hard parts in yoga are really hard almost at every level. There are a handful of things that are just hard problems because they're natural problems, especially for mature adults. And in a weird way, these are the problems that aren't hard for kids. Okay? So I'm sitting in a chair because one of the first beginner problems is getting out of the chair and onto the floor. Now, there's tons of chair yoga, and I like chair yoga, but it really doesn't address the hard problem of getting to the floor. So that's the first thing I want to start with today. And if you'd like to join me in this program, grab a chair. You're also going to need some yoga blocks. And yoga blocks are fundamental for beginners because they extend the distance to the floor, which is the first thing that we're going to start with, is the idea of how do I push my hands into the floor to start coming down to an all fours position, right? Now, I know you're thinking, you know, and this is, like I said, this is one of the hard problems in yoga, I think, is if you've never done it before, you're sitting in a chair or you're standing in your kitchen, and the show, program, whatever you're watching already starts and the person's already sitting on the floor. And, you know, if you're a beginner, you're like, okay, I don't sit on the floor often. And so, you know, that's really problem number one, is dealing with the floor. So if you're a beginner to yoga, may I recommend that every day, in the morning, a lunchtime break, maybe in the evening, you just come down to the floor and sit on the floor and do something like watch TV, sitting on the floor. If you read the Bible or something spiritual in the evenings, sit on the floor and do that. If you have pets, children, you know, get on the floor. So what I want to say is we're going to start with blocks, and if you are an intermediate practitioner, you know, come on and practice with me today, because we need to also develop empathy and also have a game plan for ourselves If, for example, we're recovering from a surgery, if, for example, we're recovering from just like an illness, like the flu or maybe COVID, you know, just getting up and down from the floor is a big deal. That's the other reason why I don't like to use the term beginner, because you just might be recovering. You're not a beginner, but this first bit of getting down to the floor is hard. So really it's all fours. So the booty is in the chair, you've got yoga blocks or maybe an ottoman, something out in front of you. And we're just going to lean forward. We're going to get the blocks out there in front, get our hands on the blocks, yeah? Take a deep breath and push your booty up off of the chair. Rock a little bit forward into your arms. I've got nice straight arms. And then we're going to push back. Believe it or not, this can be quite hard for many people to softly sit back. So let's do 5 more of those. If you're used to doing regular vinyasa, this could be child's pose to downward facing dog. So I'm going to say here is a child's pose. Inhale, exhale, and we push forward into the arms. Inhale, exhale, and gently go back. Inhale, exhale, forward. 3 more. Inhale, exhale, back. You see the belly button's going to have to pull into the spine. Inhale, exhale, forward. This would be downward dog if you're already down to the ground. Inhale, exhale, back. And once more, please. Inhale, exhale, forward. And inhale, exhale, back. All right, everybody gets the idea of that. So now I'm going to do the same thing without the chair. So if you're doing this with your chair, just do the same thing, right? I'm going to set the chair and the blocks aside and come to all fours. Once you get used to being on the floor, yeah, so this is child's pose. This is like sitting back in the chair. Inhale, exhale, and this is downward facing dog, right? So inhale, exhale. And so this is what I mean by the fact that I don't like the title beginner program, because really all of my programs are about progression. So everybody's moving forward from where you are. Inhale, exhale. The first problem is getting out of the chair and onto the floor. Inhale, exhale. Once you get onto the floor, you might as well just do the same type of motion on the floor. Inhale, exhale. Let's do 2 more. Inhale, exhale. This would be downward dog. Long legs, long arms. Inhale, exhale. Here's the child's pose, same as sitting back in the chair. And 1 more. Inhale, exhale, downward facing dog. Okay, doesn't matter where you are, working with a chair or not, we all need to build stamina, which is the strength to stay in a position. We all need to develop stamina in poses. So I've already been here like, 10 seconds kind of yammering away at you. One of the reasons why I'm just talking and yammering away is if you're an absolute beginner, downward facing dog feels deadly. Like you can barely stay here 30 seconds, but we're gonna try. So give me 5 more seconds. 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then come on down to all fours. Okay, great. That's it. If you're an absolute beginner, just develop the ability to do this opening sequence and then hold in downward facing dog for 30 seconds. Try it every day, okay? Now the next thing that's really, really tricky, I'm gonna bring my chair back. Those of you who are my veterans, you already know these things. You're used to doing these things on the floor already. And this is smooth stepping forward. I've done this program before. If you go to Instagram, you're going to see this program. I believe the title of that video is, lunges and smooth stepping. So we're going to now use the chair. Our hands are in the chair. So absolute beginner. That's not too difficult, right? The most important thing you see, my butt is not in the chair. This is really what I want to say. So I like chair yoga. I have a very good friend, Stacy Dorick. That's D-O-O-R-E-K. And if you really want chair yoga, you can find her Sunlight Yoga, Chair Yoga. And she'll show these positions where the hands are in the chair. And this is sort of a downward facing dog, long legs, long arms. But here now I'm trying to get everyone through this problem of smooth stepping. The left foot is going to step forward towards the base of the chair. I'm going to inhale, push through the arms, push a little bit through the back toe, the long leg to the back, inhale, exhale, and then go back. All right, now this, if you're a beginner, you might be saying, oh my goodness, that's kind of difficult, Cecily. And I'm like, yeah, and it only gets harder. So this is actually where you want to start Vinyasa yoga. I'm going to do 4 more of these. The nature of Vinyasa yoga is connected movement. That the movement is connected with the breath, inhale, exhale, but also a sense of connection or viscosity in the movement, right? So 1 more left and 1 more right. My veteran folks, you are in downward facing dog and stepping to the outside of the left hand and back, right, which we're going to do next, and then forward, stepping to the outside of the chair for me, and back. All right, so we're going to do the same thing without the chair. Are you with me? Just say yes. This is so important. And I'm just going to keep repeating in this program. This is why I don't like to call it beginner. So everyone can do these types of motions. It just really just depends on where you put your feet and where you put your hands. Yeah, good. So here I'm going to just step. There's no leg lifting. We'll add that later. So we want to just get very good at moving our energy forward and stepping. Oh, was that harder without the chair? Yes. Yes, by a factor of 10. Especially without lifting, to be able to smooth step to the outside of your hand and then back to downward facing dog. Now we're going to do 4 more. So to do it without the chair is so much harder that may I recommend to my, I'm not a beginner, but that was really too hard. People, so what is that, intermediate? To beginner, intermediate, advanced? So without a tool is advanced. If you use a tool, blocks, we're going to make it intermediate and do 4 more. So now I have my hands on blocks, not as high as a chair, but oh my goodness, what a difference a day makes. And take it back. And 3 more, go with the right leg. So where are you? Where are you in terms of what tool you are using? Let's not think beginner, intermediate, advanced, and things like that. It's like, what tool am I going to use that allows me to do this motion with the breath and with fluidity, connection, and viscosity? All right, great. So that's smooth stepping. And a lot of yoga students, people who have been doing it for years, have trouble with smooth stepping. All right, we're going to go back to the chair. Here we are back with our chair. And I'm really just going through these main problems. There's just these main standout problems that when a beginner comes to class, is you're just shocked. And so they're so difficult. But then also intermediate students have trouble with these same things. So again, this program, it is titled beginner, but my intermediate students actually need to spend some time using these tools to refine and polish something that you're already knowledgeable about, but still have difficulty doing it physically. My goodness, this is standing balance. Are you with me? Yeah, you are. So we're going to use the back of the chair. And this is one of the first problem poses. This is half moon pose, Ardha Chandrasana. So I'm going to stand over here on the left side, and I'm going to take my right foot and turn it out. Yay. And then I'm going to use the right hand, it's going to go to the chair. So, you notice I'm not standing that close. This is one of the problems when you get into a yoga class, is especially if even there's a block on the floor, is the body wants to buckle, and when the body buckles in, it shortens. And so we want to use the chair and set it out a way so that we get very used to leaning out and getting long. And I'm not even going to lift this leg very high. I am thinking to stay nice and plain to the front and a little bit turn my gaze skywards. Now, even for an intermediate student, this can be quite difficult. And then we're going to come back and go to prayer position. 4 more. Yeah, here we go. 4. Are we going to do this on the floor with a block later? Yeah. So look, the turning of the gaze. This is what intermediate students really need to work on. right? So I have a lot of intermediate students. They're like, yeah, half moon, and they're already kind of crumpling in and going to the floor. So let's do 2 more here. So use the chair. Try not to look at it. Once your fingertips are on there, just try to look up and out and away, look out the window, you know, move your head around. Huge challenge there. Yes, good, good. And 1 more. So I see the chair and I look, but now I'm going to try to look away, make sure the right foot is turned out, make sure you're fairly flat. And some folks would call that rotated. Right? I actually don't think of that as rotated, but it feels, you know, it feels like you've rotated, right? You are using some abductors on the outside hip to do that. All right, great. Let's do the same side with a block. Now, I'm really big on people using blocks for this pose. Do you feel that? Feel that? I feel that outer hip engagement just with the chair. So now here you are, beginner. You've been at home practicing with the chair, you're ready to go into the studio. Or here you are, the veteran practitioner, and you're really ready to focus on engagement and polishing. So what we want to do is put the block, foam blocks are good for this, in the right hand, and step out. I am looking down, but I'm going to tell you what, I'm going to put the block and my hand down before I lift the leg. I'm going to try to lift the gaze and take my gaze away from the floor. Look, I'm not going to focus on top arm and all that kind of stuff. I want to refine, yes, the positioning there. Are you doing it with the chair or are you doing it with the block? Yeah, where are you? It's not beginner, intermediate, advanced. It is what tool am I using today? Whoa, see that? See, I do that pose all the time and still got off of balance, right? Because I want to get so strong at being able to do this pose and challenge. You know, I'm really challenging my hip socket, right? And back, and we got 1 more. Oh gosh, I really feel that. It feels great. This is glute medius, yeah. Oh, all right, and on this last one, I'll add the arm. This is really a lot of work for me. To move the head around and to gaze skyward, that is asking a lot. Is it advanced, though? Now, a lot of people would say, well, Ardha Chandrasana, half moon pose, not an advanced pose. Yeah? It's not complicated. It's not a complicated pose. Then another person might go, ooh. You're asking a lot from the body to stand on 1 foot and lift up through the arches, the tibial muscles, the thighs. Find the glute medius to avoid looking at the ground. I actually consider it an advanced pose. That's just me. All right, so here, the left hand goes out, and I want it far away from me. So it doesn't matter whether I'm beginner or advanced. Once I kind of find my anchor, I want to look out and around. I need to move this chair further away because I'm bending the elbow. But that's cool too, right? And up, so I'm gonna push this a little further out. I would rather not bend the elbow. That's up to you though, okay? And we have 4 more, 4. So here now, right, I don't have to bend the elbow, and I can just sort of lean out, very, very light touch, right? And back, we've got 3 more. How's it going? 3. Now I get warmed up. I mean, my body really gets heated up with this work. It's also a lot of mental attention. And remember, this is for my auntie. So all of the aunties out there, I want you to be with me. And if you're not an auntie, you know, share this to someone who you think could use it. Yeah? So a person could just be, you know, in the kitchen, on the patio, right? Maybe you want to use the countertop there, a countertop, or just a very, very sturdy chair, the edge of a desk. Let's take 1 more. And then what is this pose? Half moon, Ardha Chandrasana, and hold. Yep. All right. So now we do it without the chair. Now, as we go along, especially for my veterans, you might be saying, well, where's the vinyasa? But I want everyone to remember, vinyasa really is this threading, this engaged movement. It does not necessarily mean sun salutes. Well, we're going to do sun salutes next because I think sun salutes are very difficult for beginners. And there's a couple of reasons why, okay? So I've got my block, and I'm like, yay, I'm going to step out to the left. As soon as this goes down, you can bend your standing leg, sure, why not? But as soon as it goes down, I want to lift my gaze. I'm not going to worry about the top arm. Look at the challenge for me. Challenge for me at the ankle. To steady this pose is no joke. We've got 4 more. This is Vinyasa because inhale, exhale, right? Inhale, hold, pause, breathe a few times, address the challenges in the pose, particularly with what your eyes are looking at. Yes, and back. Strong standing leg, and here we go again. 3, inhale, exhale, 3. I want you to notice this block is going out pretty far away. The closer the block is, the harder it is. So we come back. Do you believe me? Please believe me. The further this block goes out, the bigger you make your body. It's like a parachute. The bigger you make your body, the easier it is for your muscles to help you, okay? And come back. Let's take 2 more. The smaller you make your body, right, your muscles are like, what are we doing? What are we doing? Where are we going? What are we doing? You see what I mean? Your muscles kind of don't understand what you want. Believe me, trust me, all right? So we inhale, exhale. Last time I'm using the block. Are you using the chair? Look at how I just make the body bigger. Send your gaze further to the farthest edges of the room and so forth, yes? And back, all right? So that was half moon pose, standing balance. Standing balance is one of the hardest things. The class will be going along. If you go to yoga class will be going along, and there's a lot of sun salutes, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, standing balance, and everybody's falling all over the place. And I really believe that standing balance is something, don't wait for yoga class. If you're at your coffee station, pour a cup of coffee, you should be like, oh, I'm getting ready to pour myself a cup of coffee. Get the cup, and then just take a little gentle warrior 3. This is warrior 3. Now, I know when you go to yoga class, it's like warrior 3, it's like a big deal, yada, yada, and all the teachers are, rotate this and do this and pull up, the teachers are giving you all the cues. But you have to understand the standing leg deserves practice beyond the class. Just for you to make all of the adjustments the teacher is asking for, you need to go and just put your hands on the edge of the sofa. You're watching the Olympics. I'm watching the Olympics right now. Put your hands on the edge of the sofa and just lift a leg, right? And just go, oh, okay, well, this is, all right, this is warrior 3. This is just me, my ability just to stand. A lot of students have trouble with standing balance. I'm just going to switch legs on this little example. And so what you got to do is visit it. You're in Costco with your cart, Target, Walmart, Facebooking, sending a text. Yeah, baby, on one leg, do that. Okay? All right, so here is sun salutes. All right, let's check out. How are we going to do this? I'm going to use the chair and put it behind me. Okay? And it's way back. So if you have a yoga mat, it is safely one edge is on the mat so it's not slipping, so just make sure the rest of the chair isn't going to slip. Why is the chair way back? Because we're going to be operating on the floor out there. For my beginners, if you've really never done yoga, the sun salutes alone is very daunting. Now, there you are, you go to the class and they're doing 5, 10, 15 rounds of sun salutes, and you're like, oh, I'm a beginner. I can't do this. So the sun salute is not complicated, but you do need to develop the endurance to do it. How do we do that? Practice at home in a chair. This would be what would be in Ashtanga Vinyasa yoga. This would be rounds of B, the B sun salute. So I'm modifying the B sun salute. There's the A sun salutes and the B's. The B sun salutes start with the chair pose. All right, I got my buttocks on the edge of the chair. And the first pose is called a chair pose. What do I have to do? I need to lift the buttocks off of the chair and hold. 5, 4. It doesn't have to be perfect or anything about that. 3. If you're standing up higher, that's cool. 2 and 1. Then we're going to stand up and exhale, forward fold. Right? So at this point, I'm like, oh, if I can't touch the floor, I'm like, maybe I need some blocks. I just need some blocks for my forward fold. Okay, so I've added that. Let's sit back. So we're going to add on to this. So the first pose, what's it called? The chair pose. Utkatasana, ut. Ooh. Katasana, 5. Breathe. 4. Shoulders down. Little tuck in the buttocks. You can stand up higher. 2 more breaths. Then inhale up. Don't worry about what the arms are doing. Don't worry about all that stuff. Exhale, forward fold. Yay, I have blocks. What usually comes next is something like look halfway up. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, press back down, a little bit lower stretch. Did you see what I did with the blocks? Yeah, you did. Then the next thing is step or jump out to chaturanga. So I'm going to walk out. I've got blocks. I'm a beginner. I'm going to walk out to plank. Plank pose is the beginning of chaturanga. Now everybody else is doing chaturanga. I'm a beginner, so I just drop my knees. And then I drop the chest down a little bit, and it feels like a push-up. Now look, for beginners, don't worry about upward facing dog. Can you believe it seems so easy? But don't worry about that. Just arch the back and go to cow pose. I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Don't worry about upward facing dog. Then exhale, I'm going to tuck and round back. Tuck my toes. Everybody else has moved on to downward facing dog, so now I have downward facing dog. Oh, my veterans are like, yeah, I'm going to send this to my auntie. Look what Cecily did. Cecily has really made it so that me and my aunt can practice together. And then everyone's in downward facing dog, and then the teacher says something like step or jump to your hands, straight legs. And I've walked back to straight legs, forward fold. The teacher says something like look halfway up, inhaling. And then they say exhale, press back down. And then the teacher says something like stand all the way back up, inhale. This is just standing up. And then arms at the sides are prayer position. Now the next pose, the beginning of it again is chair pose. So then the teacher says Utkatasana. Now for us beginners, I am going to sit down and then reapproach the pose. Utkatasana, 5. 4, look, I'm not making a big deal about shoulders and arms and all of that stuff. 3, it's just not even about that. 2 and 1, stand all the way up, inhale. Exhale, forward fold. Look halfway up, inhale. See what I'm doing with the blocks? Exhale, forward fold. The teacher will say something like step back to plank, right? Beginners aren't stepping back, they're walking forward. Then the teacher will say something like chaturanga, right? Which is a reverse push-up. Then the teacher will say upward facing dog. I'm going to arch the back and look up. And the teacher will say downward facing dog. Look how I'm curling through the spine. Downward dog, push back, shoulders are open. Then the teacher says jump forward to your hands. We're not doing that. We're walking back, straight legs. Look halfway up, inhale. Are you with me? Exhale, press back down. Leave the block, stand all the way up, inhaling. Good, arms at your sides. Samastetiti. Yeah, I did. Listen, y'all need to do this, right? Y'all need to, we need to help. I really, again, want to get rid of this idea of like beginner. This is totally fun even for veterans because it's like, I don't have to work hard. It's very mild stimulation for the body. It's very calming to the mind not to worry about chaturanga and upward dog. Why not do chaturanga and upward dog? Really loads the shoulder. Getting from chaturanga to upward dog loads the shoulder, and that's where a lot of the shoulder injuries come from in yoga is by consistently repeating chaturanga and upward dog. And you notice I just took that out. So, are you a beginner at yoga? Maybe you're recovering from a shoulder injury. Maybe you're a yoga teacher like me, and you want to practice the sun salutes for the regimen of doing it and the breath stimulation, but you want to give your shoulder a rest. Are you with me? Yeah, you are. So let's do one more round this way. How does it start? Chair pose. Since I'm sitting in a chair, my feet are hips width apart. Here's your chair pose. Ooh, Katasana. My palms are together. My fingertips are together. Why? Because I'm not raising my arms. So I can do a little bit more authentic palm press. We stand all the way up, inhaling, and exhale, forward fold. Look halfway up, inhale. Exhale, press back down. Step to plank or walk out to plank. Inhale. Drop to chaturanga. Exhale, right? Arch the back. This is upward facing dog or cow pose. Inhale. Exhale, downward facing dog. Good. Walk back or jump back, chaturanga. Oh, sorry, straight legs forward fold. Look halfway up, inhaling. Exhale, press back down. Stand all the way up, inhale. And arms at your sides, or samastiti. Great. Let's do the same thing without the chair. And I'm still going to start at the back of the mat. Now, you go to a lot of yoga classes. Instructors will say, okay, step up to the top of the mat. This is a hard place to be. I tell all of my students, and I practice this for myself, I am not strong at the top of the mat. All that jumping to the top and, the samastiti and, all of that stuff. It's like, that is rigorous. So give yourself a break, my beginners, my intermediate, and practice either in the middle of the mat or practice at the back. Now, you go to class, just tell the instructor like, hey, I got something going on today. I'm going to be modifying sun salutes. I promise you, they will be so happy if you do it at the back of the mat. Be so happy. They're going to be like, oh, look at him, look at her. Oh, look how they modified that. I'm so happy. This is a great modification. So instead of top of the mat, you want to be respectful. But if allowed, right, you're at the back of the mat. So the teacher says, samastiti, stand at attention. The other students are confused because you're at the back as opposed to the front, but it's going to work out. And the teacher says, Utkatasana, here's your chair pose. No big deal, not making a big deal out of it, right? Just sitting back and reaching out, right? Good. And the teacher says stand all the way up, inhaling. And so we can do a little bit more work of lengthening the arms up, rolling the shoulders back. Then the teacher says exhale, forward fold. So you get palms down. Look halfway up, inhale, which is really lift the ribs and the gaze. Exhale, press back down. The teacher says jump back, chaturanga. You're like, nope. Then here's my chaturanga, I drop down. Now listen, get out of always doing upward dog. Sometimes do shalabhasana. Oh my goodness, it just takes work out of the shoulders and is an opportunity to work actually the thoracic space. Then you've got to do a push-up anyway to get back to downward facing dog. And for some people, that alone is rigorous. All right, the teacher usually says jump forward to straight legs. You're like, nope, you're walking back. Look halfway up, inhaling. Exhale, press back down. Stand all the way up, inhale. Arms at your sides, samastiti. And the chair pose, Utkatasana. I do like it with the big toes together, ankles together, Utkatasana. We stand all the way up, inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Forward fold, Uttanasana. Look halfway up, inhaling. Exhale, press back down. I need a plank and a chaturanga. You see how I've modified this, right? Which I really love this modification. And a shalabhasana instead of upward dog. Shoulder blades roll together. I'm grabbing the back of the thighs. Inhale, exhale. You can bend at the knees. Find your way. You got to do a push-up anyway to get back to downward facing dog. Walk the hands back to the feet. Look, halfway up, inhale. Come up higher than you think you should. Exhale, relax back down. Let the back of your neck relax. Forward fold. Stand all the way up, inhaling. Arms at your sides. Samastiti. Bada boom, bada de bing. All right, let's come on down and have a seat. Did I solve a few problems for you? Are you going to forward this to your auntie or maybe even your uncle, right? So here's the other reason why I don't do a lot of beginner classes is first of all, there's just a lot of beginner yoga out there. What I do feel is missing is how to match the beginner with progression moving forward into the standard stylized traditional class, what we would call traditional class. And what most people think beginner is just resting and relaxing. So I do see a lot of, and there's no harm, no foul. I do see a lot of beginner yoga classes where it's like, yeah, child pose. Yeah, just sit and breathe. Yeah, and it's like all sitting. I really think sitting is a problem. So I don't like my beginners sitting a lot, right? So again, here we are, come down to the floor. All right, the next thing I want to practice actually doesn't come from yoga. It comes from a tradition of like mobility training, because getting down to the floor and back up is going to require the other big problem in yoga classes, and that is lunging. Lunging and lunges, which are really fundamentally one of the most important movement patterns for us as humans, right? Lunging. So I'm going to come to all fours. I'm going to grab my blocks back. I've got them on the high side. They're on the high, wide side. And let's start with the right foot. You've got to breathe and step the right foot forward. Okay, that's hard for a lot of people. Tuck the back toe. We like this. And then come upright, hands in prayer. Okay. Now, already many people are having difficulty just here. Number one difficulty, discomfort with the knee on the hard floor. So you go to yoga class, make sure you have a towel, or I don't have my towel here, but some sort of cushion. You can always fold the mat. My good friend Howard Tom, he was always really good at folding the mat, right? Just training people like make your knee comfortable. Don't be shy, make it comfortable. Here is the big deal with lunging. And please promise me you'll work on this. To stand up from here, most people must lean forward. So we don't want that. We don't want that. So I'm using blocks. Next round I'll use a chair, and then I'll just use the floor. So this is just coming upright in the lunge, then the hands go down, breathe and change. Left foot left, gotta smoothly step it out. Bring your body upright in the lunge, inhale, exhale, change. Now, you do this every day. This is also very good for veterans. Why? Because I see a lot of veterans that cannot smoothly step and bring the body upright. And if you're a veteran practitioner and you struggle doing that, you'll need to polish and refine your ability to smoothly step forward and bring your body upright. We're going to add to this. Right foot smoothly step. Here is the dealio. To stand up without leaning forward, to drop back down and change. Say, what? Is that a beginner? Is this for beginners? It's not complicated, but stuff is burning, right? Things are burning. So a lot of time, beginners are a little shocked when things get difficult. Well, a beginner class should be difficult. It should have difficulty, right? Otherwise, you're not getting stronger and developing. That's the right foot, come down. Good. And I have quite a few veteran clients. To stand up, they have to lean forward. We got to get out of that, okay? So let's do it. I'm going to do it with the chair. Do you want to do it with the chair, or do you want to do it just hands on the floor? I'll do that one next. So now this is with the chair. And again, a lot of folks, really what they don't like about yoga is operating on the floor. You got to make your knees comfortable. So my hands are on the chair instead of blocks. Right foot goes forward. Tuck the back foot. I'm going to leave my hands on the chair. I am going to push and lean forward, but then I'm going to bring myself upright and away from the chair. Good. And let's do 3 more. 3. I am using the chair, but then I'm saying I've got to be strong enough to get away from it. Then use the chair for balance and control and ease. 1 more, right? So what is the chair doing for me? Right? It's keeping me from falling over, but I'm still responsible for coming up away from the chair. I know you feel stuff. I know you feel, my knees, it burns. My toes, my hip sockets. Yeah. But you have to remember that's because you haven't been practicing, right? And the more you do these simple, let's do once more each side. The more you do these simple maneuvers, your joints will begin to operate for you. So Americans especially, we sit too much, and then our joints are like, nah, no, I'm not doing that. So you go to yoga class once a year, and your joints are like, no, back to the chair and the sofa, please. Yeah. So now I'm going to do the same thing without the chair, and I'm going to do it from downward facing dog. This is quite common in the yoga class. I will go ahead and lift the right leg, so this is common too. And if you're a beginner, developing the endurance and the strength to just be here, I mean, you know, I think I could like Facebook here. I just trained myself to stay here. So is this advanced? It's not complicated, but it's hard. It's the endurance. So you have to build endurance. I step the right foot forward. Look at, I'm going to bend the back knee and bring myself upright. And then back to downward facing dog, 5 more. I am going to lift the left leg. This is quite common. Yes, and look at the back foot is nice and flat. That's the Achilles is stretching there. I'm going to step, drop the back knee, come up, and back. All right, now there's some different variations on this I'm going to add. So I'm going to lift the right leg and step. Most people most commonly go to crescent warrior. And what that means, you see I'm up on the back toe and the back leg stays straight. However, I am noticing that many students are losing the ability to drop the knee. Like they've been doing yoga so long that here it is again. They're not accepting the floor. I have noticed, right, a dislike for putting the knees on the floor. Good, 1 more right, 1 more left. Here's the right leg lift. This takes quite a bit of stamina and openness in the shoulder and stamina in the buttocks. I'm going to step. I am going to drop the back knee and get really good at bringing the torso up. And 1 more. So this is a great vinyasa. And if you're going to class and you want a quick warm-up, this is a great warm-up. Right? And we're back in downward facing dog. Okay, did y'all like that? I hope you did. So I gave you all of the variations using the chair, using the block, and then not using anything. So this is what I want to ask. If you're an intermediate student or if you're used to practicing, do you sometimes need to, especially following these videos, you're following a download, you're following something that's pre-recorded, do you need to go, can I follow one of Cecily's other vinyasa videos and use the chair? Instead of struggling and wobbling around. So if you use a tool, the tool allows you to concentrate. And so every once in a while, do that. Is it a modification? Well, it's modified on what you already know. Yeah? But I don't think of these as modifications. It's a progression. You know, like 3, the number 3, the number 2 is not a modified number 3. Number 2 is 2, 3 is 3, 5 is 5, right? So, and remember, my teacher said, some of my students know because I say this a lot, if there are 10 things to practice, practice 1 through 9 rigorously, regularly, with concentration. Practice steps 1 through 9, 1 through 9. So if you want smooth stepping, practice with the chair, because that's step number 1. And then carry on and then practice with the blocks, right? Because that would be step number 2. All right, so now what's some of the other more difficult things to do in yoga? We're going to stand up with the chair and start to finish this class, right? We've got about 10 more minutes. So, standing balance. As standing balances, it really gets people. So there's some category of poses in standing balance, and one is eagle. I like to practice eagle a lot. I'm going to put the chair on the left side, and then whenever I add eagle to class, people are like, right? Which is basically because we don't practice it enough. So if you're a beginner, one of the better poses to start with is eagle. Eagle is not specifically like for advanced students. It's not complicated, but it might be hard. So eagle is I'm going to bend here, I'm going to wrap the top leg around, and then I'm going to tuck the right foot behind the left. See the toes there? And then I'm going to come back and down. Well, if your foot doesn't go around, there's some reasons for that. It has to do with a rotation, internal rotation of the femur. See how I'm sitting down in the pose, bending the knees sitting. A lot of people have trouble bending or sitting in this pose. Can you believe it has to do with flexion at the ankle in the standing leg? So this is something, here it is again, you're just in your kitchen, holding onto the back of the sofa, something like that. I'm just sitting and standing. Let's do two more. I ravel the legs, I wind the legs, keep them wound up and then sit and come back up. And una más, right over. Now some of you are like, Cecily, I can't do, that's okay. Just try, just try. Changing sides. At least you know what the pose is now. Now see what happens? Folks teaching beginner classes and they don't teach the repertory, and then all of a sudden someone comes to a Cecily class and they're like, I don't even know what this pose is. So I teach all the poses. Beginners, knowing the pose doesn't mean that you can do it. You just know what it is. And that's a great advantage. It's simply a great advantage to go, oh, eagle. That's the one where we sort of wrap the legs up. Maybe your foot doesn't wrap over, but you're like, okay, eagle. Let's take two more. I'm going to go without wrapping. And the chair is simply helping me balance while I deal with all of this, twisting and hooking and all of that. Are you feeling it? I'm feeling it in the buttocks and the outer hips. Yes, so that's kind of what it's designed to work, is the hip sockets, the outer hip sockets, because it's actually internal rotation. Sure, all right, so there's eagle. What's something else that's hard? Yep. Grabbing the big toe, standing balance, and extending the leg. I will tell a lot of beginners, don't worry about straightening the leg. I have quite a few veterans. The hamstring is tight. They do quite a bit of yoga, but the hamstring is still tight. And so really just stand with the knee up. This is so much better than trying to straighten the leg and crumpling. Yeah? So again, this is for my auntie. A lot of people are just going to have a trouble just grabbing the toe. So we're going to go back and forth on that. And there you are. You're just at your kitchen holding onto the back of a chair or so and just saying, okay, let me just grab my toe. Can you believe there's so many little things for my true beginners. So another weird thing is being barefoot. Especially if you're older, you're like, do I have to be barefoot? And it's like, yeah, because it's your toes. Hello, toes. And one of the reasons why the feet get weird and we get older and the feet get all cranky and stiff is because we're not holding our own foot and, feeling around. Let's change sides. You practice here. Do you feel the hip sockets working? So just by repeating to grab your toe and down, look at how high the knee is coming. Let's take 5 more. 5. Right? Now, my intermediate students know that the leg is going to straighten here. 4. 3, but I'm not thinking about straightening the top leg. I'm just thinking about standing up with balance. Right? Progression. 2. Inhale, exhale, just progress. I love it. And 1. I can do this all day. I love it. Great. And down. All right. So what is that pose without the chair? Without the chair? Why not use the wall? Yeah, so there's always the wall or without. So the traditional pose, I'm going to turn a little diagonal to you. It's traditional pose, 2 fingers on the right hand. So there you are, you're in yoga class, there's no blocks or straps. You're like, uh-oh, because the title of the class is Vinyasa. You have to remember, in Vinyasa, the blocks will be there, but there's really no, there's no training to use with the strap, right? Because we want to move fluidly, right? So this is the Utthiti, Hastas Padangustasana. Utthiti means to stretch out. Hastas Padangustasana. Remember, you can just stand with the knee bent. Okay, so I'm going to face the other corner, right? So Hastas Padangustasana just means bring your hand to your foot. Hastas Padangustasana. Utthiti means to stretch it, straighten it. Now there you are, you're like, okay, well, wait a minute. You don't have to straighten the leg. And you can also always do a partial straight, but look, I'm standing up tall. So once you pretty much get here, it's just a matter of whether your hamstring is open or not. Right? Great, we're gonna come back down to the floor. Another mobility on the floor, all right, comes from fitness, is up, up, down, down. Up, up, down, down. So there you are on the floor. I know my beginners, honestly, that's the thing, isn't it? That's the thing. It's like, oh, do we have to be on the floor? Can I do chair yoga? I'm like, yeah, but you're already sitting in a chair. I mean, your day is spent sitting. There are people who need chair yoga. But if your day is spent sitting, a lot of sitting, and you're sitting, and you're sitting, yeah, you need to come down to the floor. This is up, up, down, down. Right, left, left, right. Right, left, right, left, right, left, left, right, left, right, left, right, right, left. 6 and 5. I'm going to tell you. And oops, other foot. 4. This is a key ability. And 3. It's necessary. Right foot, 2, to be able to go up, up, down, down. And I know there are some of you watching this video like, ooh, no, she didn't. Yes, I did. And down. Let's take a child's pose. So you want to go to yoga, you want to go to Vinyasa yoga, there's a lot of up and down. There's a lot of being down on the floor and then standing up for warrior 2. And all of these other poses. So what I'm doing here for you is just breaking out the key component that makes it difficult. It's being down and going up. Let's do it again. Now I'm going to go really fast just to show you what is possible. Not as a challenge for you, but we should be, we should be very fluid here. Right? 6 more. 6, 6. Yes? 5, 4, 3, 2. See, I'm adding the jump. And 1. Child's pose. Inhale, exhale. And we can't say it's age related, and all these different things. It's kind of not that. So we're just going to sit on the floor to start to finish. So now here we are just sitting on the floor. So a lot of beginner classes, a lot of sitting on the floor. Great. You were sitting in your car, you drove to the yoga studio, you walked in, standing up, signed in, you're in the locker room, standing up, you walk into the yoga studio and you sit down. With the sitting. So again, I'm just really big on up and down. Here is another up and down sequence, a little bit harder. Some of these drills come from mobility training. So the right knee and the right foot is in the front. You're going to use your right hand. Are you with me? Please say yes. And then this left foot is going to step forward so that I end up in a lunge. So I push and I step, and then I go back. Yes. Push forward, step. So some of you might be feeling like, that's not beginner. Yeah, it is. 3, because you need the ability to do this. Just because it's part of our human movement patterns. And part of what encourages aging, is the loss of the ability to stand up from the floor and easily go back to the floor. And you're gonna get mild cardiovascular stimulation. My breath rate went up a bit. Why? Because I'm using very large muscles. Yeah. On a final note, right? The leg muscles are the largest muscles in the body. So when they get used, they need a lot of blood. And when they need a lot of blood, then your heart is like, bet, I'm there for you. Come on, let's work out. Your heart is like, yeah, let's do it. Your heart is made to deliver blood. Now, if we don't use the larger leg muscles, you know, your heart gets mad at you. Your heart is like, oh, okay, I guess you just don't need me, huh? I'm just gonna sit up here and get all lazy and let the arteries get clogged up. Yeah, let's do that instead. No! So, right, so you can get on the bike. I mean, you can do other cardiovascular exercises, but why not get the 3-for-1 sale at Macy's? So the 3-for-1 sale is, right, cardiovascular conditioning, large muscle strengthening, right, plus mobility, flexibility. This is 3-for-1. So I push, I'm using the left hand, I step with the right, and I come back. Oh, 4 more, 4. This is it. This is Vinyasa. 3 more, 3. You can use the hand or not. Some people have developed the ability to do it without the hand. There are some folks who say if you can stand up without using your hands, that you are, that would be showing fewer signs of aging. So the more you need to use your hands to get up, there are some scales that would put you at a higher age because of that. So the ability to do it without the hands, you know, if you believe in that kind of scale, shows that you'd be on that scale at a younger age. All right, there's stuff like that. All right, so we're going to finish here sitting on the floor. So we sit, we go to yoga class, we sit, and people have been doing it for a while, like, yeah, boom, on the floor. And they're sitting on the floor in a very yogic way. So again, beginners kind of come in and are like, okay, I'm sitting on the floor, kind of crumpled in. And people have been doing yoga for a while. Remember what I said in the beginning about making things bigger? Like make things bigger, so, right? So what I'm gonna do is see how that knee went way out there, right? And then this knee goes way out to the side, right? I'm sitting up nice and tall in the body. Yep. Elbows are nice and broad, chest nice and broad, shoulders broad, and the neck is long, make everything bigger, right? And then we can spend some time sitting like this, yeah? And I hope you enjoyed this, what I'm going to call, you know, beginner program, which is great for beginners, folks who are recovering, intermediate students, people who want to polish areas of their Vinyasa flow. So it's a whole process, all right? My name is Yogi Cecily, and you can find me on my website, cecilysyogaretreats.com, and I have master classes coming up in San Francisco Bay Area, and so you can go to my website and see those. And thank you for your donations to venmo.com/Cecily-guest, and I'll see you on Facebook and on Instagram. Thank you so, so much. Bye-bye now.